Hello, my dear all students. Welcome back to our channel Gyan Online Education. I hope you all are fine and safe at your home. So, my all dear students, from today onwards, we are going to start our sixth unit from your main textbook, Beehive. So, the name of the unit is My Childhood. Okay, so the title itself explain that somebody's childhood with we will go with somebody's childhood. So whose childhood? So from this word only, childhood, we just memorize our own childhood. So we really enjoy our childhood, and so many memories we have connected with our childhood. So before you read, some points we have. Can you think of any scientists who have also been statesmen? So here maybe they have pointed out one scientist who have also been statesman. So who's scientist about whom they are talking, we don't know. So let's see. The next point is APJ Abdul Kalam, whose projects in space, defense, and nuclear technology guided India into the 21st century, became our 11th president in 2002. So here, very prominent figure in scientist as well as in our India as well as in our whole world. The name APJ Abdul Kalam, who is a very well-known president of our India, who is very well-known scientist and the very good speaker as well as very good person he was. So whose project in space, defense and nuclear technology, that technology and all his projects guided India. Whatever his projects were there, so that all projects guided India into the 21st century, and that became our 11th president 11th president in 2002. He became the president in India in 2002. In his autobiography means the writer or the poet, especially the writer who writes about himself, the writer who writes about his own life, he explains his expand his own life, so that is called autobiography. So here Mr. APJ Abdul Kalam, he has written his own life in his words. So that is his autobiography. So what is the name of his autobiography? Wings of Fire. The name of his autobiography is Wings of Fire. And he speaks of his childhood. So in this chapter, we will know more about APJ Abdul Kalam's childhood. So we come to now that in this chapter, we will know the childhood of APJ Abdul Kalam, who was the President of India in 2002. So, the very first paragraph, I was born into a middle class Tamil family in the Iceland town of Rameshwaram in the erstwhile Madras state. So here he has started his journey or his writing with his his background, his family background. So he was born. I was born means he is writing. APJ Abdul Kalam, he himself writing about his childhood. So obviously he is the narrator. So he was born into a very middle class family in Tamil, in Iceland town of Rameshwaram in the very erstwhile Madras state. In Madras state, very middle class Tamil family he was born of Rameshwaram, Iceland. My father, Janulabuddin, had neither much formal education nor much wealth. And despite this disadvantages, he possessed great innate wisdom and a true generosity of spirit. So here my father, APJ Abdul Kalam's father, Jainul Abdin, his father's name Jainul Abdin. So he had neither much formal education nor much wealth. So because he was from APJ Abdul Kalam, he was from very middle class family. So his father was not formal educated, nor he had very wealthy family. So he had not just formal educated or nor wealthy. Despite this disadvantages, so it's a kind of disadvantage for him, he possessed great innate wisdom and true generosity of spirit. Innate means inborn, means a quality of feeling. So how he felt wisdom and true generosity of spirit, kind of spirit he had. Then he had an idol helpmate in my mother, Ashima, his mother's name. I don't recall the exact number of people she fed every day, but I am quite certain that far more outsiders ate with us than all the members of our own family put together. So Ashima, she was very good woman, and he had an idol helpmate in my motherman, in his mother Ashima. So here Abdul Kalam is explaining, or he is just giving us little bit information about his family, about his father, what he was doing and what was his mother doing. So here Abdul Kalam, he didn't recall the exact number of people she fed every day. So number of people were there to whom his mother, Abdul Kalam's mother, fed every day. But he was quite certain that far more outsiders were there, and they ate with us than all the members of our own family put together. So with them, with their family, with his family, all the people were at together. I was one of many children. So he was not the only child. So many children were there, means he had so many siblings. I was one of many children. A short boy with rather undistinguished looks. How did he look? A short boy with rather distinguished looks, born to tall and handsome parents. We lived in our ancestral house which was built in the middle of the 19th century. So in the very 19th century he was born. So his home was very simple and strict and several. So not very well furnished home he had, but it was just ancestral house, and which was built in the very middle of the 19th century. So which kind of construction was there he had? So it was a very large pucca house made of limestone and brick. So with the help of limestone and brick, on the Mosque Street in Rameshwaram, he was living in Rameshwaram, Iceland, and it was a very large pucca house. So it was called pucca, which was made of limestone and brick. My austere father used to avoid all unessential comforts and luxuries. So that is very good thing. Whatever we need, we must follow that only. We should not compare our things with other things. So here my austere father, so his father was very simple and sober. He used to avoid all essential comforts. Whatever essentials are there, they follow them. But if any unessential things were there, they don't follow the comforts or any unnecessary luxurious. However, all necessities were provided for in terms of food, medicine, or clothes. So, however, they follow all necessities, which kind of necessities they have provided for in term of food, medicine, or clothes. In fact, I would say mine was a very secure childhood, both materially and emotionally. So he was materially and emotionally both were secure his childhood. The Second World War broke out in 1939 when I was just 8 years old. When World War II was there, means Second World War broke out was there in 1939. On that time, APJ Abdul Kalam, he was just 8 years old. For reasons I have never been able to understand, a sudden demand for tamarind seeds erupted in the market. So kind of seeds we can see in the market. So the sudden demand, so they could see, means APJ Abdul Kalam, he had never been understand that why suddenly the demand for tamid seeds occupied in the market. So I used to collect the seeds and sell them to a provision shop on Mosque Street. So there was one street when they were living. So on that market he just used to collect the seeds and then sell them to provision shop. From all the people they can buy it. A day's collection would fetch me the princely sum of 1 anna. So on that time, uh, anna, it's a old Indian coin. So what did he get? A day's collection. Per day's collection would fetch him the princely sum of just 1 anna. My brother-in-law Jalaluddin would tell me stories about the war, which I would later attempt to trace in the headlines in Dinamani. So, his brother-in-law, he just told him kind of news about the world war, that after a letter he just attempt to trace in headlines in Dinamani. So it's maybe newspaper, it will be there, Dinamani. So in that newspaper headlines were there, obviously which kind of things are going on, the very big news about them. So on that time he could know when his brother-in-law told him. And then after reading the headlines in Dinamani, our area being isolated was completely unaffected by the war. Their area which was not affected by the war, but then also it was isolated completely because it was not completely unaffected by the war. But then also because have to follow the rules of government, so that's why it was isolated. And their area was completely unaffected, means there was not any effect of any war. But then also, but soon India was forced to join the elite forces and something like a state of emergency was declared. So after that, after completion, or we can say that during the world war, it was just forced to join the allied force and something like a state of emergency was declared. Emergency was declared in all over the nation. So that's why some people they have to join the forces. The first casualty came in the form of the suspension of the train halt at Rameshwaram station. So at the very casually came. What did come? So suspension of the train halt at Rameshwaram station. So the newspapers now had to be bundled and thrown out from the moving train on the Rameshwaram road between Rameshwaram and Dhanushkoti. So between Rameshwaram and Dhanushkoti there was train, but they were not allowed to give hold on Rameshwaram, where there is stop was there. So what did they say? What did they do? They just threw the newspaper, the bundle of the newspaper, they just thrown out during moving train. They just had to be bundled and thrown out from the moving train on Rameshwaram road between Rameshwaram and Dhanushkoti, because there was not any station train halt, it was not permitted on that time. That's why that forced my cousin Samsuddin, who distributed newspaper in Rameshwaram, to look for a helping hand to catch the bundles, and as if naturally I filled the slot. So he filled the slot because that forced my cousin, means his cousin was there, Samsuddin, so whose work was to distribute the newspaper in Rameshwaram. So he was looking for a help, and he was looking for a help to hand over and to catch the bundles. So naturally, he means APJ Abdul Kalam filled that slot. Then Samsuddin helped me earn my first wax. Half a century later, I can still feel the surge of pride in earning my own money for the very first time. So it was time to earn money very first time. So it was very surge of pride. Then, so if there is one specific time, maybe it's that kind of time is not still coming in your life, but when it will become the very first day or the very first time, if you have earned the money, and that happiness will be mind blowing, very mind blowing. If you have earned just 100 rupees or just even 200 rupees, then also you will feel very happy, because that is your own money you have earned by yourself. So whenever you earn your own money, you will just respect money. So you will just respect all the people, even you will just carefully use those money. Every child is born, of course, with some inherited characteristics into a specific socio-economic and emotional environment, and trained in certain ways by figures of authority. I inherited honesty and self discipline from my father. So he had that kind of characteristics, discipline. So it was inherited honesty, both honesty and self discipline he got from his father. He had learnt from his father. And from my mother, what did he get? I inherited faith in godness and deep kindness, and so did my three brothers and sister. So here every child is born with some inherited characteristics into a specific socio-economic and emotional environment. So he also had that kind of characteristics, because we are connecting with our social public, with connecting with our economic, with connecting with our emotional environment. So and trained in certain ways by figures of authority. So he was APJ Abdul Kalam. He was inherited honesty and self-discipline from his father. From his mother, he inherited faith in not godness, but in goodness and deep kindness. And so did my three brothers and sisters. They were also like that. I had three close friends in my childhood. Whose are, let's see, Ramanatha Sastri, then Arvindan, and Siva Prakashan. So he had his three best friends, close friends in his childhood. All these boys were from Orthodox Hindu Brahmin family. Orthodox Hindu Brahmin families. So Orthodox means a kind of belief in their parents or in their family that no, this kind of person or this kind of religion are like this or this, that kind of orthodox are there his friends family. All these boys were from Orthodox Hindu Brahmin families. As children, none of us ever felt any difference amongst ourselves because of our religious differences and upbringing. But whatever they believe, as they were children, but none of them ever felt any difference between them because their religious differences and upbringing. In fact, Ramnath Shastri was the son of Pakshi Lakshman Shastri, the high priest of the Rameshwaram temple. So he is one of his friends who was there, Ramananda Shastri, who was the son of the very high priest of the Rameshwaram temple. The name of his father was Pakshi Lakshman Shastri. Later he took over the priesthood of the Rameshwaram temple from his father, because his father was doing like that. He was priest in Rameshwaram temple, so he just first helped and then he just did that thing. He just took over the priesthood of the Rameshwaram, his friend. So you can see the picture here. The Brahmin family, you can see all the people are together, and also Muslim boy was there. Maybe here's Abdul Kalam. So the family used to arrange boats for carrying idols of the Lord from the temple to the marriage site. So how they were feeling. So all were get together, all were live together. There were not any differences between them. All the friends, they were not following that kind of belief. Arvind then went into the business of arranging transport for visiting pilgrims. So here his another friend Arvindan, he just went into a business. He became a businessman. What he did? Arranging transport for visiting pilgrims. And Shiv Prakashan became a catering contractor for the Southern Railways. So in Southern Railways, catering was there in any railways. So his another friend, his third friend, Shiv Prakashan, he just became the catering contractor for Southern Railways. So during the annual Sri Sitaram Kalyanam ceremony, our family used to arrange boats with a special platform for carrying idols of the Lord from the temple to the marriage site, situated in the middle of the pond called Ramatirtha, which was near our house. So here family, they were not they were not doing just his religious, they were following or they believe in all the religious. So during the annual Sri Sitaram Kalyanam ceremony, on that ceremony their family, means APJ Abdul Kalam's family, used to arrange boats for whom with a special platform for carrying idols of the Lord. Whatever they had created idols of the God, Lord, they just carried them, their boats, and from the they carry the idols of the Lord from the temple to the marriage site. Whatever they have to arrange it. Situated in the middle of the pond called Ramatirtha, that was there in the middle of the pond. What was the name? Ramatirth, and which was near our house. That was just near to their house, so they just adjust that. Events from the Ramayana and from the life of the prophet were the bedtime stories my mother and grandmother would tell the children in our family. So here that is very good thing, that we should know about all the religious. If we should not feel or believe, like if we are from this caste or this caste, we should know about all the religious, how they were, how the family background, how their lives, or all the things. So here also APJ Abdul Kalam's family was like that, and whatever the events from the Ramayana and from the life of the prophet were the bedtime stories. So all the stories his mother and his grandmother would tell the children in their family, in APJ Abdul Kalam's family. One day, when I was in the 5th standard at the Rameshwaram Elementary School, there was one school in Rameshwaram Elementary School, and in 5th standard, a new teacher came to our class. I used to wear a cap which marked me as a Muslim, and I was sat in the front row next to Ramanda Sastri. So, one day, that was one incident. So when Abdul Kalam was in 5th standard at the elementary school Rameshwaram, one new teacher came to their class, and APJ Abdul Kalam, he was just used to wear that cap which was indicated, which was marked as which was marked him as a Muslim boy, and he always sat in the front row and next to Ramanand Shastri. He was Brahmin boy and who wore the sacred thread. Especially in Hindu and especially in Brahmin family, sacred thread is there, which indicates that he is from Brahmin family. The new teacher could not stomach a Hindu priest's son sitting with a Muslim boy. So that is very wrong thing. A new teacher could not stomach a Hindu priest son sitting with a Muslim boy, because APJ Abdul Kalam, who was from Muslim, so the teacher didn't like that if Muslim and one Hindu boys both are coming or both are sitting together. So here could not stomach means could not tolerate. That teacher couldn't tolerate it. So students, here we are going to ending up our today's lecture. With this portion, we are going to end up our today's lecture. Okay, some our portions are remaining. So in your homework, you have to write down the very first question, answer this question in 1 or 2 sentences. From that one question, you have to write down first, second, third and fourth. So you have to write down first 4th question from the very first question. Okay, so that is your homework and send it to me on time. Okay students, so here we are going to end up our today's lecture. If you find any difficulty regarding this, you are free to ask me. Thank you my dear all students, and have a nice day.